What's up, suckers?
I used to go watch a band. I say, I could do that. I could do it better. I could do it louder, faster. And that's how I evolved into playing the way I play.
We were kind of the gateway for the next generation of punks, the kids that would eventually define hardcore. I didn't get into hardcore. Hardcore happened because of people like me.
You're listening to Dead Air, 2 hours of the best the punk and hardcore scene has to offer. Now let's stop talking and let's get to moshing.
Come back to the light.
Yo, and what's up? You're listening to episode 52 of Dead Air, 2 hours of hardcore radio. We are back after a couple of weeks off from the regular show. We had a filler show about 2 weeks ago, did our throwback edition. Hope you enjoyed that. Haven't did a regular show since the beginning of the month. So there's a lot of music to get to. But first things first, new music from Magnitude. So I really did not, man, I'm old. You'll hear the same thing from me every time when I hear a new band. Their first release is pretty good, but then they get into the fucking full lengths and then they blow me away. New Magnitude is amazing. I'm extremely blown away. We played the song Opposition. What I didn't really know when I was listening to this was why I liked it so much. And then it just dawned on me that it was literally because it is not like a cheap knockoff, but an awesome rebirth of the sound of my favorite band, Trial. Their newest record, To What Fateful End, just came out, and I'm gonna do a review probably in the next week. You'll see it on our brand new drumroll website. Literally, we will be launching the official Dead Air Hardcore Radio website this week. We'll have this full episode there hosted, and I'll be working on a backlog of all the other 50 so episodes that I need to get on there. So over time, we will have the full library of every single episode for you to click and listen to, and it'll be at your disposal at any time in a very a more convenient fashion than having all the links stringed off across my Instagram and Facebook. So this way you don't have to really search. This way it'll be all right there. I'm super excited about it. I'm super happy that I am not the most web savvy when it comes to this. So thinking about, I guess I was in that early 2000s mindset of building a website. Sounds like a hard thing when there's so many different ways to do it and make it not sound like crap. Literally, I hate it when fucking commercials pop up out of goddamn nowhere. Sorry. Anyways, yeah, the Dead Air website is coming this week. I've been talking about it for so fucking long. And this has basically been phase one of many things that I want to accomplish and get done with this show, and it's taken this long, being a one-person operation with an Chris X coming in and out every once in a while. Anyways, check out that fucking Magnitude record. It nails that style right on the head, but with not compromising their own certain unique flavor. Because one thing you got to understand, you'll never to try to copy Trial verbatim and especially lyrically and Greg Bennick style. It's just not possible, and I wouldn't ever want anyone to do that. But what they're doing is putting them in the contender for Best Album of 2019. We're almost to that. We're slowly reaching that halfway point in the year where there's at least a handful of albums that can be placed in that. But there's still many amazing ones to come. Today, we have Jason Zink of Weird on Top Pictures. We're talking to him about a movie called Straight Edge Kegger. This will be my first movie interview. I'm very excited. I'm going to ramble on, nerd out, so you're going to be listening to a lot of that for most of the show. So get excited about that. And during the show, check out Weird on Top and figure out where they may be playing this movie. Because it's a fun one. We're going to be talking about it. and all the cool things, because this is not a regular thing that I get to do. There's not many straight edge hardcore movies, so I'm gonna shut up about that. And we're gonna get to our next song. We're gonna play some SeeYouSpaceCowboy. Over the last couple weeks, I got to go to a few different shows. I got to go see Integrity with Incendiary in Seattle. Fun time. Little bit of weird vibes with some people, but regardless, some cool shit. I had fun with. It's just for me, and this is just my opinion. Integrity is a little bit of a hardcore Russian roulette for me, because they have some great albums, and then they have some boring ones, and it's just like they'll toss out an awesome song, toss out a song where I'm just standing there like and then they'll do another awesome fucking song. So I mean, obviously they can't go all winners, especially with how many albums they have, but it's just like that's just how I feel about it. Not by like song by song, but like by album. It's like it's very ebby and flowy for me with the sounds and what gets me excited when it comes to Integrity. Following that, the next weekend I went to Portland to finally see Wrist Meet Razor after missing their Portland date. That was I was feeling real old. Usually I walk into a show and I know a good amount of the people. I knew like no one, especially because there was a mix of like Screamo. There was X Cauterize X, an awesome fucking Portland vegan straight edge band. That's super super cool. Then Wrist Meet Razor fucking killed it, and then SeeYouSpaceCowboy destroyed and pretty much fucking owned this whole fucking show. Very humbled to have them on the show when I did, before before they got signed to Pure Noise, went on all the tours, and they're going to, I believe they're going overseas somewhere very soon, either to Asia or Europe. I'm not 100%, but what I do know was that show's fucking dope. Shout out to Nutra Taco, which was right next to the venue. Good fucking vegan food. Then follow to this last weekend, I saw the Hatebreed 25th anniversary. I missed. They started a half hour early, and I missed Agnostic Front. I heard with the venue sound, it was a little off. But moving on, Obituary was fucking dope. My first time seeing that fucking band. They killed it with no bass. Shout out, much love to the bassist whose daughter got killed in a car accident last week, so they had to dip out of the tour, but the rest of the band still came on stage and fucking killed it. And then we went to Hatebreed. So, interesting thing, I saw, about a little over a year ago, I went down the coast, saw Hatebreed at a festival, and they did Satisfaction all the way through with another handful of awesome songs, and I was pumped. I felt like the vibes were good. There was a lot of amazing songs. They played Kill an Addict, which made me fucking like bonkers. Like so I was having a good fucking time, and also there was a little bit more of a hardcore vibe at that show. But flash forward to this, where here's the thing. I kind of already knew what I was getting myself into, because Hatebreed, Jamie Josta, they label themselves more as a metal band than a hardcore band. They have more of the kind of Ozfest crowd, or I guess, like if you're a Seattle listener, Pain in the Grass, like KSW, hard rock crowd support. And the whole deal is, from what I was listening when I was listening to Josta's podcast was they basically feel it out every night, and whatever the crowd is vibing is what they will, decide on what most of their set list is. So most of the set list was a lot of new stuff because apparently that's what most of the crowd was getting into, which is I guess cool. And I can't be like that type of guy. It was just personally not for me. I haven't really dug into most of their music since since 2009, the self-titled, and after that it just kind of was like and that's just it hadn't hit me anyway. It just in my opinion, it's just like they haven't done anything super new and exciting as far as their music has gone, and that's fine. They've created a great crowd. I still love a lot of the music that they do play, and I just Jamie Jost is like that corny dad. It's just it was just not my vibe, a regular Hatebreed Seattle show, in my opinion. I probably would want to see them elsewhere or more in a hardcore environment, because I think it clicks more with me than the metal environment, because it's like when I go to see Slipknot, when I go to see Anthrax, I know what I'm fucking getting into. But when I see Hatebreed, I guess I shouldn't, but I have some different expectations for that live show. So anyway, oh my fucking God, how are you gonna throw goddamn commercials? I'm not promoting your bullshit on my show. All right. Anyways, we're going to get into some music from SeeYouSpaceCowboy. Probably my favorite set out of the last couple weeks of shows that I got to go to. And then we're going to get to this or that. We're going to talk about our last one that we did a few weeks ago, and then we'll get to this week's. You listen to Dead Air, 2 hours of hardcore radio.
Well, here goes.
Flower Chains Collective.
I felt like I was watching a dream I'd never wake up from.
DIY clothing you can't get anywhere else.
Now you have something to look forward to after you die.
Information at flowerchains.us.
All right, it's time for this or that, where we pin a band up against each other. We've only done one this month so far, and we did, last time I was in the studio with Chris, we did Rival Mob versus Cold World. I don't know why I was going to say Rival Mob versus Title Fight, which that would have been way too much. That's too much off the wall. I don't want to get too off the wall until I do all the obvious matchups first. Then I'll start doing some maybe in another like 50 episodes start doing some weird fucking shit. We'll see. But last episode was Rival Mob versus Cold World, and it ended up with Rival Mob 10, Cold World 7, I believe. So we had pretty good. That's kind of what I expected, and I don't usually try to vote to tip the scales because I never know. There's been a couple weeks where I've been outvoted on what I like, but I fucks with the Rival Mob. My opinion, I don't know. If they ever came out with music again, which I don't think ever is gonna happen. I don't know if it'll be. I would assume it'd be fucking good because they play kind of a very timeless style of hardcore. But we'll only time can tell. But anyway, we're gonna play some music off their Hardcore for Hardcore record. This is Mind Over Matter. The Rival Mob will be right back in just a minute. Holy shit. I'm fucking tired. We're back. This week, we're gonna, in honor of the Straight Edge Kegger movie and interview, we're going to pin two straight edge bands up against each other for this week's This or That. From Orange County, California, we got classic 80s band Uniform Choice. I love this shit. Started in the early 80s, has records from their demo in 1984 to Staring in the Sun in 1988. The record that kind of resonates with me the most is the Screaming for Change record. When I was deciding in, I guess, later in life, straight edge, if this was a thing for me, Screaming for Change definitely resonated with me, just in the title alone, because that was what I was looking for in my life, was change, and why I, in early life, chose organized religion and decided in my mid-20s that that was not the way to go for me, and decided to go straight edge instead. Admittedly, I have never listened to their last record, Staring into the Sun, which is one of those records that some of those hardcore bands have out there that are controversial because of the sound. Bands have it. Cro-Mags have Alpha and Omega. We have Earth Crisis, Slither, No Warning, with Suffer Survive. They all got that. Some of them got that one-off that's very interesting, and this is one I still haven't listened to. I'm going to have to listen to this this week, now that I'm doing this, and then talk about it a little bit for next week's This or That. So that's my homework, and you have to hold me to it. Follow, we got Society System D-Control. SSD. The Kids Will Have Their Say record. Iconic. Definitely did not hit me as much as Uniform Choice. Definitely a faster, more aggressive band than Uniform Choice. Definitely just like super fast the wall lyrics. I have most SSD songs I definitely had. It was no choice but to have that lyric sheet to make sure it's like, is this song straight edge? Okay, all right. And that's just my opinion. Maybe it's my old ears. Uniform Choice definitely has taken a more aggressive state of sound on the Minor Threats original straight edge sound, and this one is just fucking SSD is just fucking off the wall fast ripper all the fucking way. So but my vote goes to Uniform Choice. Make your vote on our page, facebook.com/DeadAirHardcore Radio. This upcoming Saturday we'll post it, and then we'll talk about the results. So we're gonna get to our interview in just a few minutes, but first we're going to play some music from the bands. We're going to start off Straight Alert by Uniform Choice and Get It Away from SSD Control. Go listen to Dead Air, 2 hours of hardcore radio.
Stay
I'm freaking straight edge.
So for the first time, like, ever in just interviewing for radio and on this show, I get to just nerd out and talk about movies. I'm currently on the line with Jason from Weird on Top Productions. You want to tell us a little bit about your role in this production company?
Yeah, so I own Weird on Top Pictures, and the name, actually, a lot of people think this is neat, but the name comes from a David Lynch movie. It's This World Wild at Heart and Weird on Top, and they say that in Wild at Heart, and that's where I got it from. But we started this company a few years ago. This is our second movie that we've done under that banner, but we pride ourselves on being like a DIY punk rock film house, but it kind of collides with my obsession with horror movies. So that's why they came together in this way.
And today we're talking about Straight Edge Kegger. First of all, the title for punk fans should say a lot about what you're going to get in this movie. But give us a short summary in your own words about this film that you got.
So it's about a young guy who has become disenfranchised with his group of somewhat militant straight edgers, and so he breaks edge, and the gang doesn't really know any other way to react other than violently, but then the violence turns deadly at a house party, and so then everybody has to kind of dig in their boot heels and fight it out to the death. So it's a little bit of it's a crazy concept, but we tried to still base it in reality, so at least it makes it the unbelievable kind of believable when you watch it.
And my very first question from the top, are you yourself straight edge?
I am not straight edge. I would be considered straight edge for many years of my life, but at that time in my life, I really didn't call myself straight edge, or, I listened to Minor Threat, I knew what it was, but I still just didn't do anything to call myself straight edge. But for years and years, I didn't do anything. I don't smoke. I really align with the majority of what straight edgers do and believe, but I do drink alcohol.
And what spawned first? Your passion for DIY punk rock or your passion for film?
Oh man, that's a really good question. I think probably my passion for film came first. I was pretty young when I got hooked on movies and horror movies specifically. My mom and my dad both contributed to that. Like, my dad would always show me old Godzilla movies, and my mom would show me like Psycho and Hitchcock stuff. So I got hooked pretty early on, and it wasn't until I got into like skateboarding that I really started hearing a lot of good punk rock, and then it made me just, when the internet blew up, then I was able to start digging in and going like, all right, what song played in Misled Youth at this part? And then all of a sudden I'd start listening to Black Flag with Keith Morris, and then I'd keep digging. So film first, and then the film with like skate videos kind of got me into punk.
And what first made you want to collide these two worlds?
I don't know. I guess it's just because they say to write what you know. And I've got all these scripts on the shelf, and it was the first idea that I had where, like, as soon as the idea popped in, I just got really excited about it because it's something that I really care about and I don't get to see in movies a lot. So, that was really it. It was just write what you know, and also the house where we film the majority of the movie and everything's graffitied and stuff, like, that's my house. So I wrote it basically to what I had at my disposal, which is how we were able to get so much done for so little.
And I'm just going to assume you've already seen this movie, but when is the first time you saw Edge of Quarrel?
Oh, yeah. So I actually didn't know that movie existed until Oh my gosh, when was it? So we had already done the mock trailer, and we did the Kickstarter campaign, and during that, I met a straight edger who said, "Oh, it kind of sounds like Edge of Quarrel," and turned me on to that. And so I went and bought a copy online and talked to the filmmaker. He's like the sweetest guy in the world. He's actually still making films. But yeah, that was the first time I watched it. It was like after we had already developed the idea, and I was actually scared when it was first brought up to me, because I was like, oh man, is it the same thing? And then I watched Edge of Quarrel, and it's a totally different movie. So I was like, okay, I can breathe a sigh of relief.
Yeah, it's a totally different thing, but I guess that kind of goes into my next question, because the kind of the idea of, at least because if for those who, you know, haven't seen it at a film festival yet, you probably only have seen the trailer. So from the trailer, I'm getting from at least the individual, the straight edge in question from the trailer, I'm getting a lot of Edge of Quarrel vibes, even though this is based in present day, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
So my question to you was, were you basing a lot of this kind of this militant idea from a kind of 90s straight edger mentality? Because I don't know how you know, in tune with a current straight edge person in their early mid 20s, but I can say from because I'm myself straight edge, a lot of it's just online, buying a lot of you know, old 90s merch and talking a lot of shit with not really not backing it up if they are like on that militant level. But what you have is a person who's actually so I guess stone cold in his beliefs that he's actually backing it up with actions, even if it's not necessarily good, but he's backing up those words, which is more in my mind, for what I've seen from, you know, from straight edgers in the 90s, from you know Salt Lake, Midwest, that type of thing, where they're actually like doing some hard shit, and the news was covering it.
Yes. Yeah, that's basically what we took it from. And the movie, even though it's based in today, I like a lot of old aesthetic stuff. So a lot of the cars in the movie are actually from like the 70s or the 80s. A lot of the band references are from the 90s. And really it does kind of go back to the 90s stuff, and like the things that would be covered on like Gangland about FSU and stuff like that. It was basically going, how can we take some of those things and those terrible things that people believed about straight edgers on the whole, and turn it into like this genre movie, like an exploitation of those things. So it definitely takes its influence from the 90s stuff and what people believed about FSU, but then just tries to kind of blend it all together into this somewhat unrealistic world that it is today in the movie.
And with that, because we talked a little bit about Edge of Quarrel, so in Edge of Quarrel, there's kind of a resolution in this movie where it kind of shows that punks and straight edgers both are kind of fucking stubborn. Like they both is in this, not to try to get too far into it and try to, you know, be negative or trying to, but is in this movie, because it's so unrealistic, is it mainly trying to portray the straight edge individuals in more of an aggressive, negative light, because this is at the root a horror film.
Not in a negative light. I don't think so at all. Like, that wasn't our intention. We just tried to make it realistic why they would be doing this. Because if we stuck with what we did in the mock trailer, because in the mock trailer I think we kind of failed in what we were trying to do. In the mock trailer, it does seem a little bit mocking of the edgers, and that wasn't really what we wanted to do. We just wanted it to feel like a Grindhouse trailer, but it came out mocking. And so we really didn't want to do that when it came to this movie, because I actually do support the straight edge community. So all I tried to do with this is make these straight edgers believable, real people. It's not over the top. They're just your average, everyday straight edger, but the leader of the group is the one who makes all this happen. So it's not like all the edgers just say, sweet, let's go kill people because they're drinking. Instead, it's this guy who's got hurt feelings because his best friend just bailed on him, and so he is the one who is aggressive. And then when someone dies, then they're all kind of stuck. That was the whole idea behind it. Sort of like, like in Romper Stomper, something like that, where it's not like these guys just say, like, let's just go kill people. It sort of escalates in a natural way. That's what I was trying to do.
And I just go into the trailer. My favorite part, honestly, I do love the trailer, though. Like, I love how it starts out. Dude just goes and confronts the singer from the band. Hey, don't play Booze Hound. I love that I love the title of that goddamn song. That is great. 100%.
It's such a good song.
I love that. I love that fucking title. That just in general, just like, it's just like
that song. That song really, like, it sounds like it was made for the movie, and it's so funny because originally we didn't have it planned to even be used in the movie. Now it's the opening of the end credits and it's perfect, but I have no idea why it wasn't the first song I thought of for that.
And going on that, how did you select the music for the film?
Well, you always got to go local and as cheap as you can when you're working with such low budgets as I am. But really, I don't think I would have even tried to make this movie if I wasn't friends with the UGLYBoNES guys. And I met them just at a show. I went by myself to see Sloppy Seconds in Chicago, and my friend had to bail on me, so I was there by myself, and I was up in the balcony, kind of like miserable that I was there. And then UGLYBoNES came up, and I couldn't even see them, but I heard Lev, the lead singer, over the mic say, like, it's okay, just hit him in the face. Go ahead, hit him. And then they started playing, and it like perked my ears up. So I went down and I enjoyed the set, and then they walked through the crowd and handed out demo CDs. And I introduced myself and told them that I made movies. And then they came and played a house show at my house a few months later, and then it slowly developed into a friendship. And if I didn't know those guys so well and we didn't work together on music videos and stuff, then I probably wouldn't have even tried this movie, because music was so important to it. And that the opening scene is all at the Subterranean, this big hardcore show. And so if I didn't have them, I really don't know what I would have done. I don't know how we could have pulled it off. But so UGLYBoNES is a big backing track in the movie. But then some of the other stuff was just stuff that I already listened to, or that I did discover while I was writing. Like Noose was, not only are those guys like the coolest guys in the world, and I'm so bummed that they're not together anymore, but their music was perfect for the movie.
It literally, thinking when I saw that was part of just the lineup for the movie, that speaks to today's militant straight edge. Like, that is like 100%. Like, that is like, if you like, that was the first time I think I saw like seriously hard militant quotes on band merch, like, since the 90s. Like, from that perspective, like, and when I first like heard and saw that band, I was like, holy shit, I haven't seen shit like this in a long time. So I think you couldn't have picked a better band on that end of the spectrum for your movie.
Yeah, and they were great to work with. They seriously were amazing. I could not speak any more of their praises. And the only thing is they didn't really have any merch left, because that was the other reason. I reached out to them, like, to see if I could use the music, but I was also like, I really want to put some people in Noose shirts. And they're like, oh, we don't really have anything anymore. So I had to go to eBay, and I was able to find like 2 or 3 shirts that we peppered in throughout the movie.
Dude, I bet if you I bet if you ever have to do that again, something like that, merch swap. Say that you're making a movie.
Yeah. See, where were you?
Dude, seriously?
That would have been a good idea.
There are kids out there that if they knew that their shirt was going in on a movie, they'd be like, I'm down.
Yeah.
So,
well, like what we tried to do, like with the straight edgers, what they really seem more like to me is like anti-fascist. That's really what these guys are. Like we put them in like a vegan judge shirt, but then we'll put them in like an anti-racist action shirt or like an animal liberation front shirt. Like that was kind of my thing. Was like what do people that I know, normally wear and talk about and support. I just wanted it to feel like they're very believable people, but then they get thrust into this very unbelievable situation about halfway through the movie.
And just going back to just like the culture of punk and film, not being I know there's plenty of people who are filmmakers that are fans of punk rock and hardcore and that scene, but it doesn't ever sometimes come to light in their work, and same with actors and people in the industry. And the things that I've seen, like, so as far as the movies that besides yours, the only ones that come to mind are Green Room, SLC Punk, and Edge of Quarrel. Is there anything that I'm missing, and is there anything else that really influenced your, punk filmmaking, or was it all just, you in your mind, you did what you went with what you know, and you also knew that there's a huge void. Is that the mindset of punk film out there?
Well, SLC Punk was definitely a huge influence. I mean, really on my whole life, honestly. But I love that first movie so much. But there are a lot more out there. But they are, like you said, they're very few and far between. And sometimes it's like a weird influence. Like, when you have those hardcore bands screaming in the background of American History X, it's like it's not a punk movie, and they're neo-Nazis. So it's but it still has punk influence. And there's a lot of that stuff out there. But I was also influenced by, Suburbia. Have you ever seen that one, Penelope Spheris?
I actually haven't seen that, no.
Oh, you need to watch Suburbia. It's incredible. But Suburbia, Class of 1984, she also did a doc, Penelope did, called Decline of Western Civilization, that was an influence on us. I was actually just about to make a list of my top 10 punk rock movies. But I do think that there's not enough of it, and usually when I do see it, it's not an independent film almost ever. I love Green Room, but that movie cost $5.5 million to make, and so for me,
yeah, that's not punk.
I was like, how? I'm sorry, what?
I said that's not punk.
Yeah. And so I was like, we're a DIY film house. We're everything about us tries, even our logo is punk rock. So I was like, why would we not make one that tries at least to honor the community? And so after Green Room came out, because I already wanted to make a punk rock movie, then I saw Green Room and I'm like, oh, well, shit. I mean, this is amazing and we can't match this. And I was like, well, they already tackled Nazis, so what can I still tackle? And as soon as I thought about straight edge, then that's where it was. And I legitimately thought it was probably the only movie that ever dealt with straight edge until I found out about Edge of Quarrel.
But the thing about Edge of Quarrel, you have that now in I've talked about it many times. There's so much that could have been done more with what you have that as a kind of a thing of what can be improved on, because there's also going back, the first time I watch it, I think it's awesome. It still is awesome, but there's things that they could have done a million times better, like their live sets. Seeing Trial play live synced up to a pre-recorded Trial track from the actual album and not even being close to being synced up. It's
yeah. You gotta give people credit. Because like that's the thing is like that guy who made that was like, we are super independent. We have nothing. Like, I shot most of this on credit cards. We had people who worked for free or totally way cheaper than they should. And the same thing, I'm sure, went for those guys. And they made that in what, like early 2000s, or like maybe even late 90s?
Yeah, it's around that, yeah. Late 90s.
So I'm sure they probably even tried to record that sound live, and it just didn't work. And we were very close to having the same thing happen. Like, I was basically saved by my guy who was doing the score. His name's Tim Gick. He was in a band called TV Ghost for a while, and he still tours all over doing other stuff. But he's doing the score, and I didn't have anybody set up to record live sound, and he just volunteered it. Like, I was scrambling to figure out what we were even going to do, and he's like, "Oh, I've recorded so many live bands. Like, let me come up to Chicago with you, and I'll do it." And he saved us, because without that, that's exactly what we probably would have had, is just the recorded tracks from the CD, and it wouldn't have been the same. Not at all.
So as far as the visuals and just comparing your like style and of movie to kind of Green Room, what do you think that you have just as far as like just filmography, just like, and as far as like I guess what I'm trying to say is do you think this movie is probably bloodier than Green Room?
You know what? They're probably pretty equal. Honestly, I think we killed way more people. But in terms of the gore, I wasn't really looking for like a gore fest with this movie. I mean, as much as I do love gore, we wanted this to just feel real and kind of visceral. So there's not blood being splattered all over. Like, there definitely are those moments, but I think we did something very similar, where Green Room was caring more about the characters, and they just wanted to tug at your heartstrings, and we kind of tried to do the same thing. So I think we killed more people, because we kill over 20 people in the movie, but you don't see, like, just blood gushing. You'll see a little bit, but we didn't go too crazy with it.
Let's move on and talk kind of about just the film, festivals, distribution, because that's a lot of so the first I saw, I think it was on Straight Edge Worldwide, they saw there was a picture of your guys' merch, the Bloody Keg, and there's you guys have some various merch for the movie, and some people were under the discussion of, is this movie folklore? Because nobody's, obviously, if you haven't been to a festival yet, you have not seen the movie. Do you like kind of that initial hype, that vibe of people, like, who haven't been to the festivals are like kind of are talking about it in this way, because it's such a kind of your movie right now is kind of a hidden treasure. If you haven't seen it, you haven't seen it. If you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah. You know what's funny about that? I didn't know about that. Like, I didn't realize that people were saying that on, like, Straight Edge Worldwide or anything. Like, I try actually not to keep up with what's going on the internet with it. Like, if people contact me and we do interviews and whatever, or if I see a review, then of course I'll check that out. But I'm already kind of hustling as much as I can with this film festival circuit and dealing with distributors that I'm kind of exhausted. So I think it's really cool that people are talking about it like that, but I hope that they come to realize that it's real, and that they will check it out when it comes out, and pay for it, because this is really, it is a labor of love with some of the most hardworking and broke people I've ever met, and, like, if we can't make even some of our money back, then, like, this might be the last movie we ever make, which would be awful. But we figured it was worth giving it a shot and really doing our absolute best with it.
But it seems that it's as far as what I've been seeing, it seems that it's been doing quite well at the places you have had the chance to play it at.
Yeah. I mean, it has. The thing is, like, you only go out and promote the things that are going well, right? So, like, for every festival that we get selected by and we get, like, 5 nominations, there's another festival that rejected us that we really wanted to get in. We just got rejected to. So, like, there's that stuff, too. And a lot of those fests are the big, like, market fests that could really change your life. And luckily, we've like, some of those festivals have reached out to us and been like, look, man, I really loved your movie. Next time that you submit something, send it directly to me. Know that I am a fan, but you do not fit with this year's festival. And there's a lot that can go into that. Like, it could be because The Ranger just swept, like, through the festival circuit last year. And so they're like, oh, another punk rock horror movie. You know, I mean, there are so many things at play that you have no control over, and you're not sure, you know, what that means for the outcome of your movie. So, like, we're having fun going through the festival circuit, but it's very stressful, and we're dealing with a lot of distribution offers that are really, like, terrible, like vulture offers. So nothing that's made us jump at it yet, and we might even ultimately self-distribute. I hope not, because that'll be another 5 years of exhaustion. but that might ultimately be what we do.
Well, I'm hoping, no matter what, I'm 100% behind what you're doing. I'm more than excited to see this movie, and you got a fan just from the trailer alone. I've been hyped about this ever since we got the confirmation to talk about this movie. I will be buying it. It'll be on my shelf next to Edge of Coral.
Nice.
I love the straight edge pin. I love the X hand, the bloody X hand pins.
We're about to do a lot more stuff. We're about to do a new, like, faster, more punk rock trailer. We're about to do more posters. We're trying to show people a lot more of what's going on as we're kind of, like, waiting to see what happens with the movie. And you'll be happy to know that we were smart enough this time that we had somebody film a behind-the-scenes documentary. So there's, like, a 56-minute documentary of the shooting of the movie. And that'll be on the DVDs and Blu-rays for sure.
That's hella dope. And just like, yeah, thank you for your time. Just to, I hopefully, because you guys did a film festival in Portland at one point, right? I think that was
actually our very first festival. We kind of did it in, like, reverse order. Like, all the other films that played there, that was the end of their festival runs, and we happened to submit at a weird time, so that was our very first selection. So the first one flew out to Portland and had a great time.
And on top
it was programmed very well.
On top of that, just like kind of that, just the word getting around. There's also people that are also, like, you know, who have contacted you who are also spreading the word about the movie. Just like I've seen in these message boards, just people talking, saying, like, you know, like, don't worry, they will have this, you know, at some point. He's like, I've talked to the director myself. They're gonna have this film, because people definitely, like, if they don't know, they're going to know. Like, there's definitely a want for this.
Yeah, I hope so, man. And I hope people, you know, we've gotten almost nothing but good reviews, and I know the bad's coming. And, like, the one bad that I actually saw, the guy, all he did was compare us to Green Room. And I get that, and, like, that's an honor, honestly. But he had no, there was no, like, acknowledgement of, like, it's a $5.5 million movie. We spent less than $36,000, and that includes the film festival run and traveling and stuff. So basically, we got a $30,000 movie, and it's not perfect. I love this movie, and I think we made something pretty incredible. But I also think that you need to kind of see it as what it is. It's a bunch of indie filmmakers doing their absolute best that they can, you know. So I hope the year-long build-up doesn't make people hoping for Green Room 2, because we can't probably combat that one. But I think we made something pretty cool, and I think we made a punk rock horror movie that has more heart than most horror movies can claim to have.
And how much people have been entered, just in the indie films circuit, have been introduced to straight edge through seeing your film? Because, like I said, Green Room has nothing to do with, like, there's no really reference to straight edge, and some of the others have no reference to straight edge. So, yeah, how many people have been introduced to that culture?
I have been so surprised by that. Like, I knew that I know more about this community than the general public does, but I did not realize how many people were still going to go to watch our movie but didn't have any understanding of what straight edge was. That has really surprised me. I mean, it's been the majority of people, but then you have these little pockets of like punk rock kids that show up because it's a straight edge movie. So there's definitely both, but for the most part, especially at festivals, it's people that have no idea what this is, and they actually, all they think is like straight edge razor, and that's it. And it's only from the movie that they understand what straight edge is.
And I think that's a cool thing. Like, you can be a definite. These films also can be a definite introduction to the world of DIY for somebody who's checking it out from a film perspective.
Yeah. Well, and I hope that it kind of shows some people that you should just do it yourself. I mean, no matter what that means, if it's like making your own candles or it's making your own films or music or whatever, it's like, we really are. I'm a punk rock kid. That's how I was raised, and I have nothing, and I didn't go to film school, and I'm still struggling, but I'm out there doing it. And every day, my emotions, it's like a wave, up and down of, should I give up on my dream or should I keep going? But I think ultimately I keep pressing on because I think my life is constantly better for it, And I think it's really cool to have the film go out and teach people about stuff, and also see what we did for so little. Like, I hope it encourages some little punk rock kid to be like, I could do that better. I'm going to make my own movie,
I think no matter what, you're going to have some definite fans of this movie. I feel like at least a good cult following from the community, because I think there's still like a huge correlation between just punk rockers and watching independent films. Like, me and my friends if we weren't at shows and we weren't at work, we were, or out in the rest of the world, we were watching horror films at home.
Yep, me too. That's exactly how my group was. Well, it is, really.
Yeah, my group hasn't grown up that much either, so.
Yeah.
But thank you once again for your time, and is there anything you would like to say in closing?
Well, I want to say thank you so much for having me on. This has been a total blast. I love talking about this stuff, and you've been great. But yeah, if people could support us by, just following us on whatever anti-social media you use. We have a Straight Edge Kegger Facebook page. People can always reach out to me. I'm really kind of the only one doing the social media stuff, so if people reach out and I lack in response, please remind me. I'm not trying to ignore anybody. I just may be slow to respond. But I'm an open book. People can reach out and ask me anything, or and if you look at that on the website, weirdontoppictures.com, then you can basically stay in touch on what we got going on. But please support it. Please pay for our movie and other independent films. I'm sure at some point it's going to wind up for free out there, but you can watch it for free all you want, but please buy a copy still, because it will go a long way supporting a guy who is just trying to make the next movie.
This is a rare gem, people. Like, this doesn't come very often. Don't make it to where there's not another film like this for another decade. This is some cool shit. So make sure to support it, and hopefully, if I don't get to see it at, when the festival, before festivals are done, I will watch this damn movie and get to give my full review very soon.
Fair enough.
All right, so we're gonna play some music from the film, from Ugly Bones and from Noose. We'll be right back. You're listening to Dead Air, 2 hours of hardcore radio.
fucking down. Glass on the floor, let me bring the fuck out. Trouble pants, never ever fucking down. Glass on the floor, let me bring the fuck out. Trouble pants, never ever fucking down.
You're listening to Dead Air
Hardcore Radio
on NWCZRadio.com.
Blee.
Send us an email at deadairnwcz@gmail.com if you have any requests, even if it's top 10 Christian metalcore breakdowns.
Jesus Christ! Jesus Christ! What you say, what you do, I don't wanna hear it out of you. Solid, fucking, don't the boss shots. Drop the flow of every girl, made into bullshit. Do whatever gets you straight. Might as well fade into the room.
All right. Almost done with the show. So let's get on with the our last humongo block of music. I need to like call it something. I need to think of what the last block, since we like literally just pumped all the music in this last little slot. This jam-packed pack. I don't know. Doesn't sound good to me. I'll have to discuss it with Chris at some point. So we started off with demos from Noose. Did a lot of songs for Straight Edge Kegger. Their 2010 demos. And then we played a couple songs from UGLYBoNES, which you see live in the beginning of the Straight Edge Kegger trailer. And then we follow off with new music from Fixation, The Roll. Then we got Excarnate with Honor. I want to say Honor. Honor Among Thieves. Honor. Lowest Creature with Sacrilegious Pain. New music from Inhuman Nature. Taste of Steel. Mammoth Grinder with Sickened by the World. New music, some metal from the peninsula of Washington, Bremerton area. We got Urdur? I think it's Urdur. Udor? Yeah, so it has a kind of a rolls off the tongue. So check them out. It's spelled URDR. And we got Sickened of the World. Check them out. Some metal from the Bremerton Peninsula area of Washington. Then we got some new music from Hushed. Back to back. Kira with Wither and Decay. Misconduct with No Fucks. Some new music from Overstep with Silence is Mine. Powerage with Blood and Sweat. Victim to None with Wield the Blade. And Outstand with their song Nothing. And I'll make sure to post this all on our Dead Air Facebook, DeadAir Facebook.com/Dead Air Hardcore Radio. Also, don't forget, we have a new website coming up. I haven't figured out how I want to place like the full track listings, but that will happen very, very fucking soon. But just know, as you're listening to this, there will be a launched website as of a little bit after the show or tomorrow morning, if you're listening live on NWCZ. We'll also, on that site, we'll have all the affiliates as we grow. Right now, we're just on 2 other stations. On Thursday nights, we're on Renegade Radio, roughly around 9 o'clock on Thursdays, Pacific Standard Time, and then on Podunk Radio every Friday at 7 Pacific Standard Time. So check us out if you missed anything on the live show. We'll also, of course, have all the pre-recorded episodes as they come in. And shout outs to Jason of Weird on Top. Check out Straight Edge Kegger. It's going to be coming to a town near you. Check out the playtimes. And it will be out for mass consumption at some point. But you got to support what they got right now before we can, get more awesome movies that represent DIY and hardcore from a truly DIY and hardcore team of producers. Like, this doesn't come around very often, and you saw what happened with freaking Edge of Quarrel. That movie came out 19 years ago, and there hasn't been a movie like it. And then Green Room, about 4 or so years ago now, or 3 years ago, something like that. They are very spaced out. So these are fun things that, to remember hardcore. This is part of hardcore history. So, and punk history, having films like this. And I think it's extremely important to support this in any way you can. And support Jason and Weird on Top's future endeavors. Anyway, I'm very excited. I'm going to review this movie and then have the review on the website. That'll be the first thing that you'll see on the website this week after I finish giving it a proper review. So on top of having this full episode, you'll have a review of Straight Edge Kegger, which will be fun. A fun little way to start off this new website and have some cool shit poppin' for Dead Air. We're going to finish this music. We're going to finish this music. No, we're going to finish this show with new music from Redbait off of their Cages record. We're going to play Bred for the Knife. Support that fucking band. Their record was one of my favorites of 2018. This band continues to kill it, and I love just genuine. From what I see, there's genuine fucking people putting out genuine, amazing music, and just stand by everything. They stand by their music, and I stand by what they're doing for music and for the hardcore community as Redbait. So some awesome fucking music off the New Age Records. If you haven't checked it out, I highly, highly suggest that you do like fucking like now or something. So we're gonna get the fuck out of here. You're listening to Dead Air Hardcore Radio. We'll see you in a week. I'm gonna try not to take a fucking break. I got a new job, and I have to try to get into. I got another new job, yeah. So I gotta fucking work on getting back into the world once a fucking again. So fucking silly. Oh shit, I forgot. We got some new music from Stepping Stone too. That was my fucking bad. They just played last week. We're going to play a song called Soul Division off of Safe Inside Records. Now we're going to get the fuck out of here. That was my fucking bad. We're out.